Howdy folks, Little John in the brewery having some beers. Sorry, I got this from a bloody video I was watching the other day. Anyway, I'm not going to explain it. But let's see, I've just poured 2 beers from the one tap. I don't know if you can actually see, I don't think you can see the tap in the video. But what I've done, this is the Cherry Pie Stout. So I'm going to do a quick review on this while I'm at it. But the main thing I'm looking at is the effect of using one of these guys, a stout tap, or a stout spout, a stout spout, a stout nozzle, however you want to look at it. But it goes onto your tap instead of your standard nozzle, which is just straight through. It's fairly wide mouthed. Gives you your standard pour. Or this fella, which you can see what it did with the pour, gave it that Guinness sort of a look with the cascading foam and that sort of that nitrogen sort of a look. As I said, it's a longer nozzle. It's got a little plate, a restrictor plate, which has got just a couple of, well, 5 just small holes, which obviously forces the beer through. And it's a much smaller nozzle on the end there. So clearly what it's doing is forcing the CO2 or whatever gas is in the beer to erupt and come out, and obviously it changes the appearance of the beer. But what got me on, on doing this video particularly as part of the tasting, is that just the other day on Sunday, it's Tuesday afternoon now, Mullo's, one of the Patreons who lives just up the road, which for us out here in the bush means, you know, about 85 kilometres away. He popped over on Sunday afternoon for a couple of beers and a bit of a chat. And while he was here, I grabbed this fella. I've actually had it here for, oh God, I've probably had it for 6 months. And I haven't had a stout on tap, so I haven't had a call for it. But I've forgotten about it. And I spotted it just the other day and I was looking for something else. So while he was here, I gave it a try. So, and it led to a discussion saying I should do a video about this. So before I get into the video, and given that one of the Patreons is sort of driven the chat for this, big thumbs up to all the Patreons. Cheers guys. The link's down there in the bottom for Patreon. Check it out if you're interested. Shout out, oh God, so I've jumped on, I've just come straight in from work. I've been pushed for time. New Patreon, I can't think, top of my head, I can't think of your name, sorry dude, but it's there, it's in the bottom, I'll stick it down here, there it is, new Patreon. All the Patrons, thank you, keeps the channel going, big support. So actually in that vein, it is the first of the month, first video. That means Patreon draw time. Now, in all fairness, this new Patreon, who only I think joined like 2 days ago, is not in here at the moment. So let's see how lucky winner this month is. Oh no, there it be. I've got something when he's annoying me. Hang on. Right. Actually, that's interesting. And again, I'm going to show it there. I don't know. If I get beyond the light, it might actually show up. I don't know. We'll try. Anyway. If it doesn't show up, Mick Woodford from Lazy Days Brewing. You are the monthly winner. Now, given that you've probably got easy access to most of the stuff you could need for brewing, mate, I think we're going to need to send you a t-shirt. So I'll get in touch, or get in touch with me if you see this first. Get your shirt size, we'll get that worked out for you. So well done, mate. Benefits of being a patron. Other than that, if you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching, hit the like button. Let's go with this fella. Cherry Pie Stout. I did originally call it Cherry Pie Ale. I wasn't sure if I'd actually got to a stout point, but it sort of did. So that's where we are. Let me find the details. I will stick a link up in the corner, up yonder somewhere, as always, to the brew day video. Here we go. Cherry Pie Stout. Brewed this on the 10th of April. There's a bloody lot of writing on this page. Don't look at it all. Shit loads. Anyway. The idea was to get this year's cherry beer. I was pushing more for a cherry pie feel than when we go with the, well, it'll be like chocolate and chopped cherry ripe, that sort of thing. So this is where we went. We started off with an initial gravity of 1065. Now, I'm not going to go through the recipe, that's all up there in the previous video. Basically, a lot of it was a dark ale base, basically, with the cherries added into the ferment, sort of basically in the secondary. Blah blah blah. So 1065 was the original gravity. Calculating the expected sugar content of the cherries, rough estimate was an actual starting gravity of 1074. I pitched one packet of M42 Mangrove Jack's New World Strong Ale, dry, into the original brew. Now, I added extra fermentables along with the cherries at day 6. So the yeast had a chance to do the job in a lower gravity environment. It's not. I would normally recommend the two packs of yeast, but the strong ale is designed for doing strong ales, so I ran with it. So this was kegged. Vanilla extract was added to the keg. It was transferred into the keg. So final gravity on kegging was 1020. And there was 120 grams of lactose and 30 mils of vanilla extract added. I just said 20, but that's because, sorry, I've got me notes here. Originally I was going to put 20 mils. I changed it actually on kegging day. So 120 grams of lactose and 30 mils of really good quality vanilla extract. The good, yeah, good thick stuff. Yum. So, and all went to the keg. 7.2% alcohol was our final result. So this is her. She's quite dark. It's got a nice red crimsony hue to it, which isn't showing up. You're certainly gonna, I don't think it's gonna show up there on the camera for you guys. But and this was kegged 25th of the 4th, so it's now 5 weeks old. And it's got a very prominent, that cherry nose. Now, when I say cherry, it's beer cherry, not fruit cherry. And this was a discussion that me and Mullo's had when we were sitting here on Sunday having a drink of this. cherry, for me, and in my experience, does not give a cherry flavour to your beer. It gives a flavour just cherry-like. I did want to use fresh cherries. I ended up using frozen cherries, and that may have had some impact. But you get a tartness and a bite from the cherry in the beer, because obviously you're fermenting out the sugar, so you're losing that natural sweetness that comes from the juice of the cherry. So it comes up different. Just as we were discussing this the other day, when you use watermelon, you end up with a very different flavour to watermelon when you eat it, because of, again, taking that sugar out. So you add anything to beer that's got a high sugar content, you don't maintain that flavour. You don't get that flavour. You get a different flavour once that sugar's gone. You get what's left behind the sugar. And with cherries, it's a tart flavour. Mullo's picked it up as a wine-like finish. I get it as being a little bit medicinal, and by medicinal I mean like cough syrup. That flavour you get in, like as a kid, you get cherry flavoured cough syrup. You get that little tart, metallic, not quite metallic, but that sharp edge. That's what it's the same thing you get with your cherries in the beer. Which is why so often cherry beers will be buffed up with a lot of lactose to bring the sweetness back in, to try to counterbalance that tartness. Like I've put some lactose in there, but that was because I was going for the cherry pie feel, not because I was going for that real sweet edge. And that's why I only put 120 grams in. It was just enough to try and counteract it. And for me, as much as there's that medicinal edge there, I think it's working really well. There's a nice, smooth, stout base under there with not a lot of bitterness, without a lot of roasty note, and it's allowing the cherry to come over the top. So you are noticing the cherry very much in the beer. The cherry is dominant. I've had cherry beers in the past where the cherry's been there, but it's been quite subdued. It hasn't really been the main focus, and in this it is the main focus. Possibly a touch too much. But the vanilla and the lactose and the grains trying to bring in the biscuity and the pastry crust type finish isn't quite up enough. So I think there's probably a balance there where the cherries could have come back a little bit. I've not worked with frozen cherries before. I use 2 kilos. I'd normally use 2 kilos of fresh cherries. So that takes in seeds, stems, where the frozen ones are just cherries. They're de-pipped. So there's a lot more cherry going in with the frozen ones. And also, I think, because it's going to be a lesser variety of the cherry, cherries in my freezer are beautifully sweet. They're big, plump, magic cherries. You're not going to get any better for eating, but for what you're buying in those frozen bags from the supermarket, they're a lower end cherry, not the same. So there probably is more tartness in that. I probably shouldn't have been lazy. I should have done I should have pulled my finger out and got me acting and done it right and actually used those cherries. But they were frozen, and it was going to be a friggin' nightmare to be able to use them the way I wanted to in this brew. So that's what we're left with. Now that comes to this. the beer poured through the stout tap. As you can see at the start, massive head, so actually it cascaded up and rolled in, and I don't know whether how much you could pick it up there on the screen. This head was quite white, where the head on the normal tap was quite, you know, brownish and tan. That had that typical stout tanness to it. But this one was still maintained a bit of that whiteness, and even now it's still a little bit white. Big thing you can see already, the massive difference in the lacing, and this one's still holding some head as opposed to that which has really got nothing at all. But the big thing we noticed the other day was the feel in the mouth. Okay, and it's there. Even though this is now sat for a little while, I was wondering whether that was gonna disappear a little bit, the difference, because it is sat. But no, it is there. It's made that beer much creamier. It's given it a heavier mouthfeel. It's not massively heavier, but it feels much more rounded on the mouth than this fella. That's got quite a light mouth, and it's, yeah, it's edging towards thin in the body, where this fella it's just up a notch. It's got a bigger mouthfeel. It's got a lot, you know, it's got a heavier body. Heavier. It's not a heavy body, but it's got more there. And that medicinal edge is cut back a little bit as a result. Now, I don't know what exactly the science is behind why that would be like that. It's the same beer. Well, I should have had the camera set up so you could see me pour them, just to prove that they were poured directly from the same tap. But it was one shot. I didn't. I poured with that tap. I took the spout off. I put the normal spout on, and went. The tap's sitting there now with no spout on it. So it's exactly the same beer. But if I was to sit you down and give you these two beers, you're not going to pick them as being the same beer. You're certainly going to say they're similar, but they are very much not the same in the way they drink. They're both bloody tasty, but they both taste different. And on the Sunday experiment, we've done the same thing with the Eclipse XPA. Poured a glass out of the normal, the glass out of the stout nozzle, and the same thing. It had the same effect. It gave that bigger, heavier body feel, and changed the way the hops were playing in that beer. So whether would it be a positive thing in every beer? Probably not. It's going to depend on the beer. Like, I don't think pouring a lager through it would be beneficial to a lager, because you are looking for that light finish. But there's certain beers where a creamier, heavier body might not be a bad idea. And it's even possible that you have a beer that comes out that is a little bit light on the body for what you're after. Maybe using a stout tap is an answer to improve, at least changing the texture and feel of that beer to make it a little bit more drinkable for you, if that lightness is not working. Certainly worth, I think, for me, looking at playing around with different beers and trying each different nozzle to see what difference it makes and see which one works better for each beer. But as for like on this beer, does it work better than not using it? I wouldn't say so. I can't say it's better, I can't say that it's not, I said both of these beers, with their different mouthfeel and different body, are both very good. They're both very tasty. And I can't really say one is better than the other. What I probably could say is that they could both be better in certain circumstances. I think that would be a better beer if it's a little bit warmer. Maybe a bit more of a thirst quencher, where I think the slightly heavier body of that sort of lends itself to cooler days or a cold evening sitting by a fire. I had one the other night. I was cooking the barbecue. It was -1 degree. It was -1 outside. Cooking the barbecue. Went down quite nicely. So it has its place. So if you're not a kegger and you're still watching this, I apologise. We probably bored you shitless, but you know, reality is, if you're a non-kegger, you've probably bailed out ages ago. But if you're still here, then chances are you are a kegger. If you haven't tried one of these, give them a whirl. I'll definitely be buying at least one more to have sitting here. This one's going to go back on the back onto the stout tap at the moment. I said I will play around a little bit with it. I do have the red IPA coming up in the coming weeks. I'll certainly be interested to see how that goes with two different nozzles. But end of the day, I mean, I'm not going to suddenly not start using a normal tap. That's obviously going to be the go-to initially. Try that fella just to see whether it's, how it goes. There may be nothing more than just occasional use just for their that little point of difference on a beer. We'll have to wait and see. But Cherry Pie Stout, successful? Yes. Would I change things? Yes. Come on, Little John. Like I'm going to brew a beer and go, fucking yeah, it's just perfect, I'm not going to change anything. It's very nice as it is, yes, but definitely can be changed. As I said, I think it could have done with the cherry coming back a little bit, maybe 1.5 kilos instead of 2 kilos, and or maybe upping the lactose. I think the lactose could have gone up quite a bit, maybe even doubled, and the vanilla could have gone up a little bit as well. As I say, they're all working. The biscuit malt in the mash, they're working to provide their part of the beer. I think the cherry's just dominating a little bit, so I think a little bit of tweak, a little bit of pulling it here and there would get it there. Certainly a beer I may play around with again to some degree. Who knows? When you're only brewing one cherry beer a year, and that's all I'm going to ever brew, so I don't want mountains of this stuff laying around. It's nice for the occasional beer, but I'm not going to drink this, you know, glass after glass. I'm down to 2 quite easy. I'm down to 2 quite happily here. But yeah, it's not going to be a go-to beer for all the time. 1 keg's worth of it, you know. So for me, if you're looking at the original recipe, I think the water chemistry I think has worked really well. I'm not noticing anything in the water that would warrant being changed. I think the underlying is good. I think the malt bill is working fairly good. Could possibly do with a touch more chocolate and a touch more of the roast, just to bring it up a little. And that, I think that's more a personal thing though. If you like your stouts a little bit more oomph, a bit more ballsy, then I'd definitely look at putting a bit more chocolate malt in there and some more of the roast. It's only 80 grams of roast barley. You could probably double that and increase the special B as well on the original recipe to amp it up a little bit. And I think that would certainly pull back from that cherry tartness a little bit, having a bit more of that roasty note in there. As I said, a bit more lactose at the end, a little bit more vanilla. I was going to go a little bit more, but I didn't want to get too much vanilla in there, so I thought I'm better off on the low side than the high side. The high side could have potentially killed it. And the same with the lactose. So, but I think from this you could certainly go double the lactose to 240, 250 grams, and you could certainly go 40 or 50 mils of vanilla extract. You could probably just dump the whole little bottle in. As I said, it's good extract. It's not cheap. I think I paid about, by memory, about $18 for 50 mils. Yeah, so it's a pricey addition, especially if you're going to throw the whole bottle in. It's a pricey addition, but yeah, you're not making a normal everyday beer. And let's be honest, this is the sort of beer you're going to go and buy at the bottle. You're going to pay anywhere from, you know, $11 to $16, $17 a can. So this is $120 a carton beer. So thinking there's a little bit of money to be spent on ingredients. Just can't be avoided. But that's it. I can't really add anything to that. I think that's where the tweaks are that could be made. As it is, there's nothing wrong with it. If I was to buy that, go to the bottle shop and buy a can of a Cherry Pie Ale, and that's what I was getting, I wouldn't be disappointed. So, give it a crack, don't give it a crack, whatever, it's up to you. But it's worth a go if you're interested in that sort of thing. Comments, questions, down the bottom as per bloody always. Righto. Again, big thumbs up to the Patreons. You guys keep the channel going. Allow me to do experiments, to play around with ingredients. Do this sort of thing. Extract the ganza. Just playing around with different equipment. So can't give enough thumbs up to the Patreons. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you haven't already, I don't know why the hell you haven't. I've said it before. 3rd best channel on YouTube. Hit the button. Hit the like button as well. Smash the crap out of it. Once. Hit it once. Can't gotta hit it once. That's all you gotta do. But anyway, that's me. Little John. Cherry Pie Stout. Success. Till I see you again. What are we doing? I don't know, we'd be brewing beer, we might be talking beer, we might be drinking beer. But either way, till then, good brewing.